I said this before, and 9 times out of 10, I will say it again. When you get to the mountaintop, when you get to the NBA Finals, when you get to the Super Bowl, when you get to the World Series, you need your best players to play like your best players. I know I said that on social media, and somebody DM'd me talking about, well, what about the Boston Celtics? And Jason Tatum didn't play his best, and they still won a championship. And I was trying to explain to him, like, yo, while yes, that is correct, Jason Tatum didn't play his best, he played good enough, and you still had somebody in Jaylen Brown that is still an NBA elite player playing well, which is why you saw Jaylen Brown pretty much sweep the individual awards in the playoffs. Your best players, I'll say it like this. Your role players can get you there, which is very unlikely, but your role players can get you there. But if your players, best players, do not play their best, you will not win. And if you want an example, like I said, I will probably have to say this again at some point in this podcast lifespan. But if you need any proof about that, look at the Dodgers and the Yankees. Congratulations to the Dodgers for winning the World Series. We touted, and rightfully so, we touted this World Series as one of the greatest World Series we could have ever seen. There was about 26 or 27, I believe, All-Stars, a bunch of Golden Gloves, a bunch of MVP. It was just stars rattled through both teams. And there's a reason why a lot of people had the Yankees winning it all. There's a reason why a lot of people had the Dodgers winning it all. There was not a shortage of stars. And I said this, most people on sports media said this, so this isn't just me saying I told you so, but I said this. It doesn't matter how the Yankees got there. It doesn't matter how the Dodgers got there. Whichever stars will play their best is the team that's going to win. And the Yankees, I'll say it like this. One thing a series does, and let's just stick to baseball. One thing a series does is it's going to exploit your weaknesses. It's going to, because you have to deal with a team for more than one game, and usually the team that you're playing is you're in the World Series, so you're playing the first or second best team, which will be determined by the end of this in the Dodgers. When you play a team in a series, they're going to exploit your weaknesses. It's almost impossible to hide your weaknesses because these teams are so good, they know how to exploit them. If you're bad at shortstop, best believe that the team that you're going against will exploit that. If you're bad at hitting, if you're bad at pitching, if you're bad at the outfield, a team is going to exploit that. And what was the issue with the Yankees? Again, I'm not taking away from anything that they've done. I'm not taking away from them making it to the World Series. But what was the issue with the Yankees? The issue was if their big hitters aren't playing well, if Aaron Judge isn't playing well, if Giancarlo Stanton isn't playing well, if Garrett Cole at the pitching isn't playing well, they're very short when it comes to the bullpen, and they're very short when it comes to other players picking them up. Yes, you have Anthony Rizzo, but he's not really considered, at least at this point of his career, one of those players that can put the team on his back and carry you to victory. for this World Series to be as hyped up as it was, and rightfully so, for then the outcome to be the Dodgers winning 4-1, that shows you everything you need to know. Even Jazz, I forgot how to pronounce his last name, but he was even coming in struggling. Which, let's talk about the World Series as a whole, because we're 6 minutes in, and I haven't exactly talked about the World Series. We saw what happens when your stars come to play compared to when your stars struggle in the biggest moments. I learned a lot about the New York fan base this World Series. I learned a lot about them. One thing I learned is they love Aaron Judge a little more than you would think. Because I know the New York media, the New York fans, to turn on a player quickly. Hell, you remember how quick it was that they turned on Julius Randle? Julius Randle wins the Sixth Man of the Year. The next year, they're putting up signs outside of MSG wanting him out. The fans will turn on you in a heartbeat. And if you look at the numbers that Aaron Judge, especially games 1, 2, and 3, if you look at those numbers, he was by far one of, if not the worst players in the World Series. Yet, I didn't hear really anybody talk about how bad he was playing. Now, yes, he did play good, and he played good in Game 4 and Game 5, but we'll talk about Game 5 in a second. But I didn't really hear a lot of people killing Aaron Judge, which I thought he was, because he was putting up not even pedestrian numbers. He was putting up numbers. It's just like, yo, how are you the great Aaron Judge, and you're putting up these numbers in the World Series? That's the first thing I learned about New Yorkers, and they really love Aaron Judge, because I didn't hear much. Another thing that I learned is this. I was right. No, man, I'll say it like this. Going into the World Series, there was a lot of question marks with the Dodgers as far as, remember, going into the World Series, Freddie Freeman wasn't playing that well. You're also getting Shohei Ohtani, which we know how great Shohei Ohtani is, but this is his first World Series. And Mookie Betts was playing okay. The Dodgers team as a whole was playing all right, but a lot of people were still saying they probably should have lost to the Padres, but they didn't. So it is what it is. I learned that, when I say I learned that I was right, we saw what happens when your best players do not play up to their potential. Going into the World Series, Giancarlo Stanton was by far probably the best player in the MLB as far as the postseason. There was nothing he could do wrong. It felt like every time he was at bat, the ball was going out the field. He was looking like prime Barry Bonds. That's how great Giancarlo Stanton was looking. It felt like all those Mariner days. It's like, yeah, it's time. All the games he missed because of injury. It was just, he was waiting for this moment, and he was letting it go. Aaron Judge, he wasn't playing great, but he was playing okay. It was just Giancarlo Stanton that was like, here, put the team on my back. Let's get it. But then you get to the World Series. And the World Series also shows you outside of, you having to get there. So in a sense, everything that it took to get there mattered because you had to get there. The World Series showed you that none of that mattered. Only thing that matters is the game in front of you and however you play then. Because when I tell you the tables flipped, like completely flipped as far as all the stars, even with Shohei Ohtani hurting his shoulder. I thought when that happened, that could have been the series right there. While yes, it is baseball is probably the second ultimate team sport, but it's a morale changer when you have your best player compared to not having your best player, and it looked like Shohei Ohtani was finna be out of there. But the script completely flipped in the World Series. When I can't express to you, almost every, especially those first 3 games, almost every. Now the first game you can say, because Freddie Freeman had, might I add you? Okay, let's finish. Let's finish the thought, Jalen. Let's finish the thought. Outside of the first game, which obviously took a grand slam walk-off from Freddie Freeman to win, this series, the stars did not perform as much as you would need them to perform. I will say this: the Yankees role players played okay. They're especially Game 4. Their role players played really well. However, again, role players aren't going to win you championships. And that's no offense. That is no offense, but that's just the truth. I'll say it like this. I'll put it in terms, maybe people that don't watch baseball, maybe people that don't, I don't watch baseball that much, so this is why I do it. It helps me understand. Let's look at it in football terms. It's very rare that a backup quarterback is going to lead you to a Super Bowl. Very rare. It could happen, but it's very rare. You would need your best players to not be your quarterback. That's one. And you would need them to play out of their minds. It's very rare that you lose. Let's go to the LA Lakers. It's very rare that you would lose LeBron James and Anthony Davis, or LeBron James and Anthony Davis play horrible and you still make it to the NBA Finals. It's just rare. You need your best players. I feel like I've been emphasizing that because that's literally why the Dodgers are hoisting the World Series trophy this year. Freddie Freeman, I think he had, 6? He's had 6 straight World Series games with a home run. This is the same Freddie Freeman that struggled mightily in the postseason until he got to the World Series. Mookie Betts played like it was. Before we talk about what happens after the World Series, let me again congratulate the Dodgers for winning the World Series. And let's talk about that Game 5. Because a lot of people, when you talk to a lot of baseball fans, a lot of intelligent people, we saw a very, very rare occasion. I think this was the first time, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that this was the first time that a team at home led by more than 5 runs lost. The Yankees had a 5-0 lead. In fact, if you listen to the broadcasters, you'd think that the Dodgers, once you go down 5-0, because history is not on their side, it's like, all right, let's just pack it up and let's just win this, hopefully in LA. But when I tell you that Garrett Cole could not have had a worse, I think, 5th inning. That was probably the worst 5th inning of all time, at least in the World Series. You go into the 5th inning with a 5-0 lead, and you leave the 5th inning tied 5-5. It was it I it was so shocking watching that happen in real time. Again, I'm not someone that projects to be a avid baseball fan, but I'm like, dog, it felt like every single at bat for the Dodgers either was a home run or a base hit. A lot of people I hear now is blaming Garrett Cole for the loss. While I will blame Garrett Cole and his pitching for that fifth inning run, this is more on the fact of the stars for the Yankees did not show up when they needed to. And kind of like what we're seeing with the Cincinnati Bengals, you can't have a slow start in a World Series. You can't spot a team as stacked as the Dodgers. You can't spot them 3-game lead and think that, oh, it's time to turn it up. Because mind you, as much as I'm killing Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, they turned it up game 4 and 5. They look like the sluggers that they were. It's just a little too late, and you're already playing with a hot team. Which brings me to my last point. This is just like last year. This is going to be a huge offseason for the Yankees. One of the players that I didn't really mention in this whole segment was Juan Soto, another player that didn't really come to play as much as you'd think he was, or as much as his talent holds. He didn't really come to play that much. If I was him, wouldn't leave the Yankees, but he is fetching, or he could fetch, I'll say, a contract upwards of $600 million. If you're the Yankees, obviously you can afford that, but I'm not saying you play for Juan Soto, but what I'm saying is I'm thinking it's a lot easier, because you know who else can afford Juan Soto? The Dodgers, the team you just beat. Now, I'm not saying he jump ship and go to the Dodgers. What I'm saying is if you have a team that just beat you and can pay you more, and maybe the way of living, because he was on the Padres, so he is used to the California life. That's just one player. I know you have all the greats, but that's just one player you can't lose. And I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying it would be a little easier if you would have won the World Series. As much as it was hyped up, it wasn't the best World Series. It was exciting, obviously, seeing some of the many historical moments like the Freddie Freeman home run streak in the World Series, and watching Freddie Freeman win the World Series MVP. Congratulations to him. And congratulations to the Dodgers. I know that there was a lot of talk around the Dodgers, seeing as though the last time they won the World Series was a shortened season in 2020. And before then, I think it was like 1980 or 1990s or something like that. So it was a while since the Dodgers, even though it is a historic franchise, it's been a while. And the fact that they were able to get that monkey off their back, and and I talked about it last episode, when you have the best players, which both teams did, it breeds excitement and it breeds expectation. So, shouts out to the Dodgers for winning the World Series. Shouts out Freddie Freeman for winning the World Series MVP. He was for sure the best player in the World Series. From the Game 1 Grand Slam walk-off win to getting a homer every single game, it felt like. Shouts out to the Dodgers, man. There was a lot of naysayers, and they shut them up. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.